All right, today we're going to talk about slope-intercept form and going from slope-intercept to standard. Now, these forms you're going to use quite a bit later on throughout the year. I don't really worry about you understanding what they mean yet, but at this point you should feel confident moving them from one form to the other, because this is just a basic literal equation. It's a process that you're going to be doing over and over and over again throughout the year. So before we get into too much detail about what these individual things mean, I want to make sure you can move between them quite easily. All right, so slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Again, don't worry about that so much yet. What you need to know is that slope-intercept form starts with y, then equals, then an x term, and then a number or constant term. So it's y equals something x, and then a number. All right, now standard form it's ax plus by equals c. Again, don't worry about what those mean yet. But what you do need to know is that it's going to start with an x term, then it has a y term, then it has a constant or number term. So when we're changing from standard to slope-intercept form, the goal is to move things to the correct side. And then there's this phrase, make integral coefficients. All this means is integer, which is non-decimal, and then coefficients means the numbers in front of the variables are non-decimals. All right, so let me show you how this is in action. All right, so the first thing you'd want to do is obviously look at the problem. So this is saying put the equation in standard form, integral coefficients. And they say y equals negative 4/5 x plus 2. All right, so what I want you to do is write the different forms before you begin. All right, I want you to, even though I don't really care that you know what the symbols mean, I still want you to know which form is which. Because the quicker we start practicing it, the more likely you'll remember it by the end of the year. So the first form is y equals mx plus b. And again, make sure you write that this is slope-intercept. That's slope-intercept form. And so it's the y, then it's an equals, then it's the x term, and then it's the number or constant term. That's basically what it looks like. As you can see, this problem, it says y equals the x term and then the number term. So this right here is in slope-intercept form. All right, you should also write down the other form, just so we remember. Our goal is to make it into ax plus by equals c. And that's just saying we want the x term over here, then we want the y term, then we want an equals, and then we want the number term. Okay? And make sure you understand the location, and this is standard. Don't get them mixed up. This is standard form. All right? So it's basically we're moving the variables to the correct spots in the equation. All right, so the next thing we do, after we've identified the different forms and we're comfortable, we're going to go ahead and move the terms to the correct side. So in this first one, again, right now it's in slope-intercept form. The x is on the wrong side. In standard form, it needs to be x, then y, then number. So here's our equal sign. Here's our equal sign. We have to move this term, negative 4/5 x, to the other side. So the opposite of negative 4/5 x is positive 4/5 x. All right? So now here's the thing that you want to make sure you don't mess up with. Positive 4/5 x and y, those are not like terms. You can't put them together. You can't make that like 4/5 xy. What you can do, though, is write them next to each other. So you ask yourself, what needs to come first? The x or the y? So again, if you look right here, it tells us in standard form, the x term comes first. So it should be our x, then y. So you would write positive 4/5 x. And the way you write positive y is to say plus y equals, and over here we have positive 2. Okay? So this is in standard form, but we're not done yet because we need this integral coefficients. That means we don't want any fractions, no decimals, we want all integers, whole numbers. All right, so our last step, what we do is once we have our equation, we have to get rid of the fractions. The way we get rid of fractions is to multiply by the common multiple of the denominators. So we look at the only fractions we have. Well, the only one we have right here is this 4/5. So the opposite of divided by 5 is times 5. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 5 over 1. So you do that to each of the terms. So here you say 5 times 4 is 20. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Or a quicker way, I like to do the division first. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. So this turns into 4x. Then you say 5, well, there's nothing to divide by, so 5 times y is just simply going to be 5y equals, and then here, there's nothing to divide by because it's 2 over 1. 5 times 2 is simply 10. So that is your final answer. That is the equation in standard form with integral or integer, non-decimal, coefficients. See, they're all non-decimals now. And it's in standard form because it's the x term, then the y term, then the number term.